My name is Ira Monco. I'm a implementation and sales engineer here at Onboard Informatics, and I am joined by Scott Petronis. Scott, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi there, everybody. I'm Chief Product Officer at Onboard, and really glad that everybody joined us today. Thanks.
Cool. So without further ado, we will get started. What is Onboard Simplicity, Scott?
I'm glad you asked, Ira. So Onboard Simplicity is actually a platform we've been working on for the better part of just over a year at this point. It's been in concept for quite a while. And our goal with this was really to create a local data distribution platform. And when I say local data, what you should be thinking about is nearly any type of data that has a geographic element or relation to it. So think of local points of interest, think of property information, think of the attributes associated with the geographic area. And so our goal with it was to enable, first and foremost, enable Onboard to manage the distribution of the content that we've been acquiring and working with for many years, offer it up as a simple and straightforward RESTful API that follows the common standards that everyone is used to working with today from a developer community, and really to enable us to bring all this together in a means, as a means of making it available to other developers who want to create mobile or web or other applications off of this sort of content and not want to have to manage all of that infrastructure. As we evolve from what today is really kind of a property-centric model with much more real estate-oriented content within the system, one of our major goals with the Simplicity platform is really to make it available not just to developers to consume the content, but to other content providers who want to be able to offer access to their content as it relates to any of the other content within the system, and to create a true ecosystem for local data distribution and access. So I know that was a mouthful, but that's what it's all about.
Okay, thank you. And go to the next slide here. The key concepts.
I do want to touch on a few things here. You know, one of the things that we've seen over many years of distributing data is the moment that you put something out there, especially when you're documenting things in Word documents or PDFs or whatever else it might be, even web pages for that matter, that content can become stale very quickly. And when you're thinking about things like real estate information especially, or local data, that does change frequently, whether that's a new business going in or an addition that goes onto a house, or a sales price on a listing that changes maybe on a weekly basis. This information is constantly changing. So we really want the system to be self-describing, to tell people what's the data within the system, what's it all about, what are the attributes associated with any of the data or the content in the system, so you don't have to sit there and rifle through traditional hard copy documentation, that the data is really telling you about itself. The second thing is a huge focus of what we've been building is really optimized search around all this type of content. And Ira, I know you're going to show a number of those types of searches, but really our focus there was to create these optimized search capabilities that go into this content and make it easy for a developer to interact with it in a highly efficient manner. And then the third aspect of this is really content retrieval. So if you think about pulling a record, it could be an individual property record and literally hundreds of attributes associated with that property, or the history about a specific geographic area. There's a workflow to all of this, and when you think, first thing is have the content describe itself and tell you about it. The second thing is enable you to interact and search this content, and the third thing is to really retrieve all of these rich details that you might find about that information. And Ira, I'm sure while you walk through this, people will hopefully be able to see that workflow is really what we've tried to optimize within Simplicity in this first API.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's actually get into taking a look at the API itself. And so we actually have a demo environment set up, and I'm going to go ahead and log into that. If you haven't already, you can come to onboardinformatics.com/labs and go ahead and register yourself. That will kick off an automated process to send you credentials. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in. Once you log in, you'll notice you can come in here. There's really two sections. We have the Onboard Simplicity and then another product of ours, the Listings API Plus. For this presentation, we're going to go into Onboard Simplicity. Within Onboard Simplicity, there's a short video you can watch here. We're currently on the 0.02 alpha version. We have the 0.01 alpha documentation and demo if you're curious to see the progression so far. And then below that, we also have some a forum set up where you can post questions for some immediate response and also see what some of the other developer questions that have already come in. So let's come up here. Like I said, we're on the 0.2 alpha, or the 0.02 alpha. We have documentation that you can come in here and read about the API. And we have a fully functioning demo, which you can actually start interacting with the API. So like Scott mentioned, you know, the design of this is to be completely self-supporting. So I'm going to actually sort of walk you through it backwards in the way that I think that you would probably be most comfortable developing against this system. And that means the first thing that we want to look at is come down here and view the actual metadata. So we go ahead and select that. We click Submit. And here you see the JSON response for all of the data that is available. And you'll see in each one of these, so the address building name. Here's the search name. Is this data type actually searchable? Yes, it is. Is it sortable? Yes, it is. What's the data type? Now, in this alpha version, we haven't fully described this, and we intend on adding that in the very near future. But this will give you a chance to come in here and start very quickly seeing, you know, what is all of the data that's available. And this interface actually has the ability to also, if you right-click it and you want to view this in a little bit different user experience, you can go ahead and do that. We'll jump back into the original JSON format there. All right. So now you see all of these, all of the data types. Let's say, for instance, that you're interested in seeing what are the different parking types that are available. We can go ahead and select that. And come down here into the enumeration for this field, and you'll see here enumeration. We've already pre-populated it with style. So here are the styles. Well, I wanted to see what were the parking types, and that's not the correct format. So back that up. Go ahead and submit that. Those are the different garage types that are available. And why is that important? Because as if you noticed before, these are what we can actually use to do some filtering on. So let's go ahead and jump into actually viewing some of the property information. So now that you have an idea of how to work with the different, what are the different field types and how you can work with them. So we'll do a search by address. And currently in this demo version, we have the state of Delaware loaded up. And so that's what all the information that is available here. But you'll notice here, when I perform this search on this address, it's laying it out on a map. You can actually come in here and just click on that icon, and it will show you all the fields. I think an easier way to view it on the screen is just to go ahead and come in here to the JSON response. And you'll notice, so here we show you, what is the address. We have the actual area information, and you'll see things like, here's the subdivision names, the property assessment values, some of the property attributes that are available, and here's the AVM. This is an example of us bringing in another separate content set right into this product. Here's the building information, building style, year built. So you'll see that there's quite information, the deed information, and I think this will give you an idea of the direction that we're headed with this product. It's our ability to bring in a lot of different data sources, and in this case, they're related on property. Scott, did you want to add anything to that?
No, in this specific instance, the starting point for the Simplicity API is really around property information as really kind of the nucleus. And as Ira points out, there are lots of different attributes we can associate it with any given property. But beyond that, the same model, the same sort of JSON response, the same response elements. So as you can imagine, an address is an address is an address. So whether it's a point of interest, whether it's a property, whether it's listing content, or whether it's anything else, you'll see commonality across all of this. And then going back to the metadata, that will describe for any of these different types of content sets, just how that information or the variety of information that's available for any of those. I think a great thing in this case is there are literally hundreds of fields just associated with any given property. What we're really trying to do here is just make it extremely convenient to get access to that information and create user experience around it.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So let me show you a couple other ways that you can actually perform searches using this tool. We did a search by address. You can also pull back property information with the FIPS and APN. So go ahead and perform that. Once again, it's just going to drop it on the map. And you can see the format here. You can also do searches by a postal code. So we'll go ahead and perform one of those. So you'll see, and it's very easy to figure out what the format is here. So give me properties by IDs, what type of ID, postal, what's that value, 19803. Come here to the map. Did we get properties back? All right, there's you'll see here there's 8,765 properties or records that meet that criteria. We have the ability to do a snapshot or summary information. That's just going to be a smaller data set to work with. You can do a search by radius. So you'll see here what's your center point, how far do you want it, what's the unit of measure. I'll go ahead and submit that. So there you'll see. Within this tool, we also have the ability that you could actually draw a, your own polygon. Perform a search. And I realize I'm rushing through this pretty quickly. I see that we're running a little short on time. I want to be sure to give you guys some time to ask questions. This tool also allows to have the ability to do a type-ahead address search. So the idea is we're really trying to give you all the tools that you need to get up and running very quickly. And so you'll see here's the format for that right there. You can run this tool in debug mode if you want. So if I went ahead and added that, my browser's freezing up on me. So I go ahead and submit that. Let me run that in Debug mode, that'll just give you a little bit more information. This API call took 24 milliseconds. Debug mode is true. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much the gist of this tool. That should hopefully be enough to for you to be able to get here and start using it. We're certainly looking forward to hearing some of your feedback.
Just a couple things I wanted to point out with the demo itself. So, our goal here is front and center to deliver an API that offers, again, access to any and all local content in the most efficient manner. We provide demos like this in order to really give people ideas on how this stuff can be implemented, but all of that code will be open sourced, and anybody can take this and utilize any of the code within that. It's a combination, I think you'll see in there, a leaflet, a few other different mapping tools, and just a lot of open source technology that I think anybody can use to really create a cool user experience. So hopefully this gives people a bit of a starting point. Our goal right now, and one of the reasons we really wanted to have people join us and continue to join us on these sorts of sessions, is we really want to give people an opportunity to test it out. To really play around with the demo, interact with the API itself, and we're in just voracious data capture mode right now. We want people to give us feedback, ask us questions, tell us what you think, and really help us shape this next go around. So we just put out this 0.2 alpha literally a couple weeks ago. We're in the process of putting out, working on the next alpha release, which will be 0.3, which will include national data. So you'll really be able to get a much greater sense of the overall scope of, specifically around this property information and what we have today. And then we're really racing towards this, our first kind of real finish line is the middle of June to have this publicly available for people to actually start building against. And really to start creating killer applications, whether they're mobile apps or marketing apps or you name it. But in order to get there, we're really looking for people to give us their feedback and help to shape, shape the direction of it and shape how we can make it work best for you as developers. And that's where we are today, and that's what we hope you can help to contribute to.
Great. So where can you find this? We have two places right now. OnboardSimplicity.com contains marketing capital and collateral, and if you go there, you'll see we actually have divided this out into the different types of users or roles that we believe will be interacting with this. So you can come into one of these and read through some of the frequently asked questions that we've received so far. The other location is onboardinformatics.com/labs, and that's where we just were. As I pointed out, we have documentation in there, we have a forum, and we have the demo, which you're welcome to start using and actually encouraged to. So yeah, how can I participate? What we'd like you to do is go to Onboard Labs. If you haven't already, go ahead and sign up, register for an account. We'll get you set up. You can get in there, start using the demo, and then provide us your feedback. We're anxious to hear what you think, how we can make improvements to it, how you think you might make use of it, yeah. So with that, let's go ahead and open it up for questions. But just before we do, that's Scott and I's contact info. Feel free to reach out to us. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? All right, we have a question here from Emily. What data sets will be available with the June beta release? Scott, do you want to field that?
Sure, great question. So the first release that we'll put out there will have property information for the U.S. That'll include about 140 some odd million properties. And when I say property information, think about all the various property attributes that Ira was just showing. So it'll be your information about the property itself, the address, the latitude and longitude, the various attributes about the building, the property type, etc. In addition to the general property information, there will be an AVM or estimated value for roughly 90 some odd million properties, as well as for any of those properties where we have an AVM, we'll have a 6-month trend available for those properties. So you'll be able to see what that trend has looked like over the course of the past 6 or more months. In addition to the AVM, there will be home sales or deed attributes associated where available, with the exception of if it goes back more than 15 or 10 or 15 years, or in states that are non-disclosure. But there will be property records with sales transactions, as well as the sales history on individual properties. In addition to that, there will be tax and assessment information associated with any of those, so you'll know the most recent tax details. And then we'll have a number of additional calculated fields associated with any of those things, so price per square foot, estimated value per square foot, those sorts of things. So there's a pretty rich and extensive set of property information. The next release after that, the focus is going to be more so on it's still around property, but a lot more of the trending information, sales trends, value trends for geographic areas and those sorts of things. And then we're really going to be plugging away, and honestly, this is where we could also use people's feedback, is the prioritization of other types of content that that you'd like to request or see, because we're dealing with lots of different data providers that have great information that could be associated with a lot of this. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Yeah. So we have another one. This one's from Troy. Tech question: typical SLA for API response times for accessing listings. Basically, you're saying this is on-demand listing data.
I want to be careful with this. When I'm talking about property information, this is public record property information. There's a whole other initiative being worked through on for listings, and really on the more of the RISA standards front. So I just want to clarify, the property is public record, not MLS listing, on-market listing data at this point. And the response times, one of the biggest things that we're focusing on, honestly, between now and June are really all of the performance details and the infrastructure to make this solid. I'll say this isn't Onboard's first foray into offering real-time access to this sort of data. We do have a listings API. We've been doing that for 6 years, and we have an SLA around there in terms of our uptime and response time, et cetera. We have thousands of websites that utilize that today. So this is really taking advantage of and leveraging all of our history and background in that stuff. One of the areas that we're focusing a ton of our energy on now is really performance, and our goal is really sub 500 millisecond response times. But as you play around in where Ira showed that you can put debug mode on the API, I encourage you to take a look at the response times in there. We're typically in the 12 to 40 milliseconds. We're really shooting for just as blazingly fast as we can make it, and this is going to be a battle-hardened environment that this is going into for uptime and other SLA requirements. I hope that generally answers your question, and certainly we're fine to if you want to have an interaction after this, we'd be happy to discuss it. Great.
I think we're just about out of time, but like I said, we're anxious to get your feedback. Reach out to us. Go ahead and get into the Onboard Labs and start using the API. This entire video will be up on YouTube if you want to see it again. And we just really want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your afternoon to come watch this.
Thank you, everybody, for the time, and looking forward to your feedback, certainly.